done? Okay, let it run for a second. All right, so this is Miss Levy's art classes. There's a lesson I teach every year. It's the 8 layers of shadow and the 3 styles of shadow. And I teach it over and over and over again, so I thought it would be really good if we had a podcasting of this lesson. So my students have set up my squares for me already. And we're going to start with the 8 layers of shadow. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8th layer of shadow is going to be just white, nothing. So we're going to start by making this dark. When we start by making it dark, we don't start by making it very dark because you need to be able to feather out. And if you start by making it very, very dark, it's very difficult to feather out. The lines need to all touch each other. I call it kissing. So I walk around the classroom and I say, are your lines kissing? Are your lines kissing? And you make a little bit of shadow on one square. And then you feather that out. Basically, you feather it out until they disappear. And although that is not going to give you all 8 layers of shadow, sweetie, can you come here and sharpen my pencils for me?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem.
So I'm going to go back over the very first box. And again, all my lines are kissing. And then I'm going to feather that out. You can see that there's a very clean distinction here, and you don't want that kind of distinction between the different layers of shadow. And I'm going to feather that out. Now each time I come back over it and I make the first box significantly darker like that, or a little bit darker, however you feel it is, it means that when I feather it out, it's going to feather out one additional box. I'll stick with the same pencil while I finish that. And so here it is. And each time it should get a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter. My lines aren't kissing right here, so I just need to pass back over it until they are. All right, let's try a different pencil. I really like number 2s or HBs. I tell the kids that number 2s are the right kind of pencil to use. Number 2 pencils are the most common pencils that you can buy at any supply store like Staples or Office Max or CVS or anywhere else. Number 2 pencils are just number 2 pencils. They're the least expensive. There's nothing special about them. And now I have to feather that out. So you can see each box is starting to grade out. These are kind of the same, and these are kind of the same. This is an HB number 2 pencil, and so it's a harder lead, and it allows me to really get into the graphite with a harder lead. And what that does is it really fills in some of the paper grain that the number 2 does not fill in very well. And I'm almost to the end in terms of my gradation, even though I have a couple of boxes that are very similar. So the last pass or two, I'm going to use a Big Bear pencil. Big Bear pencils are actually some of my favorite drawing pencils that I probably never would have discovered as an artist had I not taught school. Big Bear pencils are those giant big blue pencils that they give you when you're in first grade or second grade to draw with, because very young children do not have fine motor skill development, and so they need larger grips of things because their motor skill development is still a little bit crude. And Big Bear pencils are very, very similar to professional grade drawing pencils. I really love it. They're, you know, when you're an artist, you can go into an art supply store and spend a fortune on large format Conte and all kinds of stuff that they have, and the Big Bear pencil is very much the same thing in a way. It's just this very large format graphite pencil. So again, you know, these are relatively similar. These are relatively similar, and these are relatively similar, and these are relatively similar. So in order to get the difference, I'm going to come in with a Big Bear pencil. Big Bear pencils, like I was saying, are large format graphite pencils. So what happens is, here's a number 2 pencil and a Big Bear pencil, and so you can see that the sheer volume of the graphite on the Big Bear pencil is just really large. These are the kinds that most children have very fond memories of from elementary school. Again, motor skill development is very crude on young children, and so it gives a bigger grip. And so it gives a bigger grip. Notice that when I go from box to box, I really try to overlap. Like when I'm doing the big one, I will try to overlap into the next box so that the gradation from the darkest to the lightest is a little more smooth. If you tried to stick to the lines that are there, you would wind up with a line, and you wouldn't wind up with something that's very, very smooth. Now you can stop the podcast at any time and work. You can freeze it by pausing it and then start it up again so that you can slow down my work to the speed that you need it to be so that you can be successful at doing this lesson on your own. So here I still see a little bit of a line, so let me go ahead and work that second square a little bit darker. Okay, this is good. This is still too light. I'm liking it quite a bit. I'm going to pause here and I'm going to start on the next example. This one here again is called the 8 layers of shadows.